Can your local school district deny your child from attending school if they can't wear a mask? On today's live, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 government agencies that give you the right to ask your local school district for an exemption from wearing a mask. Now, I want you to be sure to leave the comments below if your school district has told you that your child can't attend school because they cannot tolerate a mask because they have a disability. So masks are a real hot button today, as we all know. And I've had lots and lots of parents already contact me telling me that their local school district has informed them that their child cannot attend the school building if they can't wear a mask. But this is simply not true, parents. I'm going to share, as I said already, with you today 3 government agencies that are driven by laws that protect your child from the discrimination like this. And I'm going to tell you about how those 3 government agencies and the laws that are driven by those government agencies do provide your child the right for an exemption for wearing a mask to school. So I have had lots of comments on my blogs and my posts about this because it's a hot button, and a lot of people get very upset when I say these things because they don't feel that a child with a disability should receive a mask exemption, and that it's not safe if they're not wearing a mask in school. So, this is not my opinion. This is not, a discussion or an argument. These are 3 government agencies that have laws that drive the exemption and allow your child to receive a waiver from your local school district. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So now, how do I know this? Because parents, over the past 23 years, I've attended more than 3,000 IEP meetings, coaching and speaking on behalf of parents to make sure that they get their child the education that they need through the special education department in their local school district. So, we all know that virtual isn't working today for all kids, even kids in general education. But for kids with disabilities on an IEP, it's really not working. It's not working at all. Kids have lost over a year of education. They have regressed massively across the board. And so when now finally we're getting the opportunity to go back to the school building, the most vulnerable children that already have learning disabilities and disabilities that impede their ability to access the curriculum or progress towards their goals, they're going to deny those children access to the school building because of their inability to tolerate a mask. So if your child falls within one of these categories, this Facebook Live for you is for you today. If you have a child on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, if you have a child with sensory integration dysfunction, if you have a very young child, if you have a child with ADHD, if you have a child with anxiety disorder or has panic attacks, if you have a child with breathing issues, which include asthma or respiratory illnesses, then this is for you. So the first government agency I want to share with you, parents, is the Office of Civil Rights, or it's also acronym is OCR. Now, the Office of Civil Rights, they are the ones that oversee the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, which also encompasses the 504 plan. So if your child's on a 504 plan, this is what you need to hear. So the ADA says school districts should make reasonable modifications in their policies, practices, or procedures to avoid discrimination on the basis of disability. That is their always go-to. They tell school districts, be careful, school districts, don't discriminate against kids on IEPs or a child with a disability, AKA child with a disability, right? So they already, lead with that. Now, in the mask situation, they're saying if your child cannot wear a mask for an extended period of time and is an individual with developmental or intellectual disability, the OCR says a face covering requirement must be waived for the following students. Students who are on the autism spectrum and cannot tolerate masks due to extreme sensory issues. Students with mobility impairments who cannot independently put on or take off a mask. Students with seizure disorders who may be in danger if they experience a seizure while wearing a mask because the mask may obstruct breathing or cause choking. Students with lung diseases or breathing difficulties, which include asthma. Students with anxiety disorders who experience panic attacks while wearing masks. Students who cannot communicate effectively with another person if the other person is wearing the mask, including deaf and hard of hearing students. So that is the Office of Civil Rights, which encompasses the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which encompasses the 504 plan. Okay, the second government agency is the CDC. Okay, so I already had several comments on my Facebook page saying, oh no, the CDC superseded any of that. And the CDC saying that, nope, the kids have to wear a mask. Well, here we go. I'm going to give you that the information that that's simply not true. The CDC does not say that. This is not my opinion. This is the CDC saying if students are unable to wear a mask properly or cannot tolerate a mask, they should not wear one, and adaptations and alternatives should be considered for the following students. Very young students, such as those in early elementary school, people who have asthma or trouble breathing, students with special education or healthcare needs, including intellectual and developmental disabilities, and students with sensory concerns or tactile sensitivity. So right there, the CDC clearly says that those students who have those disabilities, they do not, adaptations and alternatives should be considered for them, and they should not wear a mask. Okay, the third government agency is the U.S. Department of Education, which oversees the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. When students with disabilities are not allowed to come to the school building because they cannot wear a mask, the school is denying your child to receive a free and appropriate public education, a FAPE, to which they are entitled. So your child is entitled to FAPE. They cannot get a FAPE if they're not in school, in the school building learning. We already know that virtual school doesn't work. Kids aren't making progress towards their goals. Kids aren't receiving their related services. If they're receiving related services and they're being provided virtually, they are receiving no benefit from those services. They cannot access anything virtually, most of the time, kiddos on an IEP. So what can you do under IDEA? And there's 5 things I'm going to list for you that you must do if you want to get a mask waiver for your child under an IEP. Okay, step number 1, you need to call an IEP meeting. Now I'm also going to incorporate 504 because this is you're working with your school district. If your child's on an IEP or a 504, these are the steps you take. So you call an IEP meeting or a 504 meeting if your child's on a 504 to enforce the disciplinary safeguards and protections which are entitled to your child under IDEA and ADA. Okay, so what are you going to do after you call your 504 or IEP meeting? You're going to provide a doctor's note outlining your child's disability and how that disability impedes your child from wearing a mask, and that they are not mandated or required, but okay, so let me tell you what that means. So you can get the doctor's note, and I highly recommend you get the doctor's note because the doctor's note is going to strengthen your request for the exemption or the waiver. And then it's also going to show them you're not kidding, that, the doctor says your child has this disability and they can't tolerate a mask. And this is the reason why, because their disability doesn't allow them to wear a mask. So it's not just you saying it, you're getting it from your doctor. So I highly recommend now even though it's not required or mandated that a parent gives the school district a doctor's note, it's certainly going to expedite your request, and there's not going to be any denying or funny business because you handed them the doctor's note and they have to take action right then. Okay. Step number 3, parents should request an exemption from your school. So in your IEP meeting, you're going to give them the doctor's note and you are going to say, I am requesting the exemption form to allow my child to have the waiver, a waiver form, to have the waiver so that they don't have to wear a mask. Now, what that does is that kicks in the safeguards and protections when you ask for that waiver form. And you fill out that form, and then you give them your doctor's note, and then that is going to make sure that it's going to be your request is going to be expedited quickly. So the 4th thing I want to let you know is that you want to ensure that your request for a mask exemption is documented in your IEP and your 504. So make sure that they're documenting this in the meeting notes at your meeting. And then you're going to request an accommodation be added to your 504 and to your IEP. And the accommodation is going to say, excuse me, let me take a drink of water real fast. Your accommodation is going to say that your child cannot tolerate a face mask. That's the accommodation that you're going to be requesting. So, and then why is that, parents? Because if it's in your IEP, you get the exemption, and you also have an accommodation added to your 504 and to your IEP, that is going to help with the disciplinary actions that the districts are going to impose upon kids that don't follow the social distancing rules, that aren't able to wear a mask, that take their masks off, and that are a disciplinary problem when school starts again. Those kids are going to be general ed kids, or even kids that don't have the waiver. They are at risk of being disciplined. And what is that going to look like? We don't know. Are those kids going to be told you can't come to school because you're not following the social distancing rules and you're not wearing a mask? So this is going to protect your child with the accommodation and with the mask exemption. And the 5th thing that I recommend is that you review your child's medical health plan. So a medical health plan is a plan that the nurse develops at your school, and it should be included or a part of your IEP. And a medical health plan is for anything that has to do with health of your child during the school day. And I just had an IEP the other day where the child has an EpiPen and they don't have a medical health plan for an EpiPen. So that's just insane. Anything like that if your child has seizures, if your child has asthma, if your child takes medication, if your child has any kind of medical issues that they need to know about at school to keep your child safe, and that there's explicit instructions that are to be taken regarding your child medically, then there has to be a medical health plan. So you review your medical health plan and you add that your child's disability impedes them from wearing a mask. Okay? So parents, your child should not be denied their educational and civil right to attend the school building simply because they can't wear a face mask due to their disability. This is discrimination. So if this is happening to you, parents, and your school district has told you that your child can attend school, I invite you to join my Facebook group, the Special Education Parent Empowerment Network. It's my Facebook group. And just, you're going to have to fill out the questions. You have to be a parent. You have to be wanting to learn about the IEP or the 504, learn about your parent rights, and then you're going to be in. So please fill out those questions, because if you don't fill out the questions, I can't allow you into the private group. And then also, I recommend that you go to advocatesforangels.com/brigades. It's a brigades with a plural S and /. So advocatesforangels.com/brigades/. That is a page where you can check out my parent monthly membership, in which I work with parents to coach and to consult with them on how to be successful in working with your local school district. We're having great success with all my parents. I even had a parent actually be awarded a private school for their child, which the tuition is very high ticket tuition to go to this school, and the school district is funding this for a parent who is in my parent brigade. Lots of other wins as well that we're having since school shut down, and I created the monthly membership, the parent brigade. So today, parents, I've given you 3 government agencies: the Office of Civil Rights, the CDC, and the U.S. Department of Education. And all of these agencies protect your child against discrimination by denying the school attendance because they can't tolerate a mask due to their disability. Our children have suffered long enough, and they deserve to go back to the school building. Please don't allow your local school district to continue to cause more harm to your child's well-being and education. So parents, I wish you all a happiest of holidays, and that you and your family stay safe and well. And join me on next Monday for my next Facebook Live at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time for the Advocates for Angels Facebook Live. I'm Valerie Abrahamian, the IEP Navigator, and I help parents to receive what their child needs in special education so that they can leave high school with the skills they need to live a happy, productive, and purposeful life. Take care, everyone, and God bless. In my video. Oops.